What's up, street gods, ASMR dogs, Bitcoin dogs, welcome to the house. Alright, shout out to my friend Noel. Okay, so big thoughts. How to get rich. Everyone wants to get rich. It's Kanye has a quote, get what we need may not be what they want. I actually have an idea that give people what they want and need. Big idea. The general idea is, everyone wants to get rich, and actually the truth is being rich is good for you, but doing it in trying to rewrite definitions here, I think is important. So, for example, there's a difference between having $1 million in the bank versus spending $1 million. And one of the funniest interviews I saw with Kanye is they're like, I think it was Nick Cannon or somebody was like, oh, you're a billionaire. He's like, correction, multi-billionaire. It's like, what's the difference? It's like, well, if you're a billionaire, you're worth $1 billion. You go out to McDonald's, you buy a hamburger, and then you're only a 999 millionaire. So I think the thought is funny. But the general idea and the gist is how to be rich, how to become rich. So I think I have some interesting ideas. Kind of contrary to what people think, being or becoming rich, blah blah, it's not about having expensive things or luxury things or owning a house or whatever. Essentially, it's having ultimate freedom, and the ultimate wealth is digital wealth, which is Bitcoin, right? MicroStrategy stock, whatever it has used, right? Is Apple stock is money, Facebook, Amazon, Meta stock is money, US dollar is probably not money, Bitcoin is obviously the ultimate perfected money on the planet, the first potentially deflationary fund, which means at the 0.99 in about 20 years, when 99% of the world's Bitcoin of all time is going to be mined, then 1% is going to be mined over 120 years, then things will start getting interesting. Actually, when people say that Bitcoin is hope, it's kind of it's actually true. Bitcoin's changed my life. I mean, I think pre-Bitcoin, and now that I'm chasing 10x, 100x, 1000x yield, essentially what it means is I have something to look forward to. I have even in January 2025, bookmarked this videos. When the FASB, Fair Accounting and Securities Board, starts to issue the fair accounting principle, the Bitcoin, so companies could hold Bitcoin as treasury reserve assets, then what that then means is, instead of just holding foreign stock or debt or equities, a company can start using Bitcoin as a war chest. It's going to be a big deal. And it's 3 months from now? My birthday is January 31st, so call that Eric Kim Bitcoin holiday. The bank of Bitcoin, which is MicroStrategy. If you're stuck in the traditional markets, I mean, the ultimate goal is to buy more Bitcoin. He or she or whichever entities owns the most Bitcoin or custodies the most Bitcoin shall win. I mean, even the crazy thing, right? So let's say MicroStrategy owns 1.3% of the world's Bitcoin, which is if I could tell you, you could own 1.3% of all the money on the planet that'll ever exist forever. And, I actually did think for a long time ago that Bitcoin was digital gold. I still hold by that idea. So let us say there's 21 million bars of gold on the planet, right? And we know with 100% precision, cryptographic proof, that never, ever, ever, even if you poured $1 trillion in power, you cannot produce more gold bars. So let us say that these 21 million digital golden bars could be melted, divided instantly. You could be traded with you, and you could just keep the password in your brain. And if that's the case, then MicroStrategy strategy, becoming the first world Bitcoin finance tool platform bank is kind of a big idea. It's very, very revolutionary. So once again, your Roth IRA, your IRA, your stock, whatever, just buy MicroStrategy stock. My thought is, like, in terms of trading, or if you want to make a good trade, just buy a MicroStrategy stock, wait till January 2025, wait 2 or 3 more months, see what happens, and then use that gains to buy more Bitcoin. Or, I mean, buy Bitcoin now. I mean, it's up to you. You could do whatevs, because everyone has different situations. Because I don't know. I think it's pretty exciting, because if I could tell you with 100% certainty that 30 years from now, Bitcoin's going to be worth 49 million a Bitcoin. The bullish case, the bear case is 2 million a Bitcoin. The base case is maybe 13 million a Bitcoin. If that's the case, and I can tell you with 100% certainty that's going to be the world's future in 20 years, would you do it? I mean, yeah. And then it's good, because then you can start to plan your life that I want to be around 20 years from now. So you're not going to do drugs, heroin, coke. You're not going to do some P. Diddy 40 bottles of baby oil parties because you're going to know how to plan things in the long term. Yeah, I think, yeah, and then, you plan on having kids. I almost wonder, actually, Bitcoin solves the whole kid issue, because one of the primary reasons people don't want to have kids no more is actually because people think they can't afford it, and or, whatever other reasons, X, Y, and Z. My personal thought is, if you know with 100% certainty the planet is going to be around 20, 30 years from now, right? Obviously, you're going to go out and have kids, right? And I don't know, it just, yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'll do a prediction. The next time, let's say my best man has a son, I'm gonna give his son or kid a Bitcoin for their inheritances. So in Korean culture, there's actually this thing where if you have a kid, right? They give them gold rings or a gold bar or an ounce of gold or a gold necklace, right? And it was a good strategy up until now. I mean, I think those who invested in gold in the past did quite well, because gold was able to survive the inflationary environments, the subprime mortgage blah blahs, and right. But now we're living in the year 2024, right? Like, what are you going to do with the dead rock, right? It's essentially, if you think about it, gold is actually bad for the planet, because you're taking real human labor, slaves in Africa or whatever, right? Putting themselves to noxious chemicals, putting their lives at risk. I'm sure tons of people have died through it, right? And then people never talk about how toxic that process is. So assuming that Bitcoin is a true digital transformation of capital that's truly digital, that's conservative, because people was like, wait, isn't Bitcoin kind of like an MP3 file? Like, you could take Beethoven's Fifth Symphony and copy it and download it 1 trillion times. But with a Bitcoin, and it's interesting because it's very open source, but it's kind of difficult for people to wrap their heads around, because typically when you think of a digital, we think it's free, right? Like a digital download of an ebook or whatever, right? But Bitcoin is so insanely transformative, because like once you transfer a Bitcoin from one person to another, P2P, like you cannot just Control C and paste. You can't copy and pasta a Bitcoin, and that's once again a bug, not a feature. And people, oh yeah, it's bad for the planet, blah blah. But what people don't understand is, because Bitcoin is so energy intensive, that's actually what gives it value. So for example, let's say you're, I don't know, Ethereum or any other air token, anything that's not Bitcoin, right? Some nerd at a computer could click a button and boom, all these new air tokens into the universe. Now, because it's not backed by physics or physical electricities or real capital, it kind of becomes another fiat currency. Fiat means faith, right? And so the US dollars, in order to compute it, right, it actually promotes war, death, genocide, right? Like everyone's always pointing the finger to Israel, right, or Jewish people. It's like, no, you idiots. It's the U.S. government. It's, you know, the U.S. Industrial military complex. So for all these like goody two shoes, I'm like, as long as you like your iPhones, it's being built off of slave labor in mainland China. You try to, you know, create a factory for iPhones in Georgia. Yeah, good luck, right? Your iPhone's gonna either cost $10,000 an iPhone, or yeah, the whole thing's gonna collapse. So whether people like it or not, true wealth and capital, whatever's, is predicated on the pain, the misery, the suffering, the exploitation of labor. What I like about Bitcoin is, to me, it actually feels more ethical, because let us say you had clean energy, a nuclear power plant, you know, methane gas, or hydroelectric dam, solar plant, whatever, right? You could actually create a 100% like good use case of it, right? That's not actually polluting the environment. And yeah, once again, people are like, yeah, but Bitcoin's not worth anything. I was like, duh, it's not worth anything. But I think the number one critical thing I learned from De La Moneta, the basic idea of Fernandino Galliani, is money exists in the mind of men. Even the Austrian economics, you know, thinking about Carl Menger and the like, principles of economics. Money, it's a man-made invention. Like, the only reason why gold has value, why gold is money, is because, you know, humans found it to be the most durable hard asset on the planet. But now, once again, we live in 2024 and beyond. It's like, would you still be wanting people to just have a horse and buggy? No? Do you know how much poop they had in the streets, right? Or did you want to have the manual, you know, the elevators where they had the dude with the hat pulling it for you? I mean, it looked cool for movies, right? But the downside was, you know, it could decapitate you if you did the wrong thing, right? So yeah, having things that are automatic makes a lot more sense. So the digital transformation of things, and I think what's actually really difficult to understand is Bitcoin is almost like the real Matrix. You know, the moment where Agent Smith, I mean, he's a true AI agent, and then somehow he was able to download or hack himself into a real life human being in the real world. Kind of like that moment where Bitcoin is also the same thing, where it's kind of in like it's kind of hard to, it's actually hard to describe to a normal person, where, think about it, like essentially you use physical energy in the real world, embodied reality, and then you put it into cyberspace, which is frictionless, will exist forever. You can use Bitcoins on Mars and Satoshis. You can't use, you know, the US dollar, right? And then, and yeah, so anyways, US dollars are backed by military power, war, death, destruction, famine, impoverishment of human life. Yeah, Bitcoin is the more quote-unquote sustainable and ethical option.